You wake up, use the restroom, you then have breakfast, and you are out the door to go to work. Congratulations, you are an adult. The one thing that no one anticipates is that they will disappear and never be located. This is the case that the family of today's subject is having to deal with. My name is Jeff. Welcome to another installment of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries. In this installment, we will be hearing about the case of Micki Jo West. This case first aired on the January 25th, 1989 episode of Unsolved Mysteries. I originally thought this was a whole different case. I remember a case of a woman who was in a vehicle incident and that she was last seen standing in a dark field looking at the nearby accident scene. While I was typing the description for this video, I looked into the case of the woman who was standing in a field. The person I originally thought was Micki Jo West was actually named Patricia Meehan. Up next, it is the case information. Okay, it is now time for the case information. The name of the case was Micki Jo West. Her full name was Micki Jo West, as you can see here. She went by the alias of Micki, however, it is listed as possibly being misspelled. The date of birth for Micki Jo West was September 24th, 1959. When the case first aired on Unsolved Mysteries, Micki Jo West would have been 29 years old. As of recording this episode, or this installment of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries, Micki Jo West would have been 65 years old. The location was St. Joseph, Missouri. The classification, oddly enough, they classified it as wanted, even though it should have originally been classified as a missing person, because at the time, we really did not know exactly who did it, with the exception of the letters that was being left around the town of St. Joseph, Missouri. See here. She was missing since September 11th, 1979. Micki Jo West was 19 years old when she went missing, and it sounds like she's deceased, and it was believed that she was still 19 years old when she was basically murdered. This is reported on by Find a Grave. Is this case on YouTube? Yes, you can find this case under Season 1, Episode 15 of the YouTube uploads. The original televised air date was January 25th, 1989, and the case currently sits as unresolved. Okay, so up next I have the case promo for what we are about to hear that I'm going to read to you. So here it is. This is just kind of give you an idea what it is that you can expect. Now, I'm not going to be watching the video itself. I'm going to the Unsolved Mysteries wiki to read it, but this gives you like a little bit of an idea of what it is that happened. So here we go. 3, 2, 1.
In September of 1979, 19-year-old Micki West vanished without a trace. Exactly 7 years later, a note was found from someone who claimed to have witnessed Micki's murder, but his identity remains unknown.
Okay, so basically, a lady sadly disappeared, and some people, or a person, people, whatever you want to call it, were leaving several letters, around area. So when I return after these commercials, it will be with the case reading of Micki Jo West.
Cross Your Heart Bras, one of many popular products from Playtex, known and used by women the world over. Playtex is part of Esmark, an American family of companies which also provides nourishing food products from Swift, fertilizers to make more food available, and energy to keep the wheels turning. Esmark, providing over $5 billion worth of needed products annually for you and your world.
Welcome back. So up next, we will be going to the Unsolved Mysteries wiki, and I will read to you the case of Micki Jo West. And let's do that right about now. Okay, so we got the browser up. Let's pull up the case. Micki Jo West. There we go. Okay, let's close that out. Okay, how am I looking here? Okay, it looks pretty good. Let me. Oh my gosh, really? There you go. Thank you. Close that out. Close that out. Thank you. Okay, let's enlarge this. I may take a break every now and then, just to get something, to drink because it does, dry the throat out if you're reading for a while. But anyway, let's continue, shall we? So this is in the Missouri 1979 disappearance. These are the tags. There are four more. We have abduction, harassment, medical related cases, and unresolved. Okay, so let's do this. Micki Jo West. Real name is Micki Jo West. Nickname was Mickey, possibly misspelling. Location was St. Joseph, Missouri. The date was September 11th, 1979. Okay, for the bio occupation was she was a nurse's aide at St. Joseph State Hospital. The date of birth was September 24th, 1959. Her height ranged between 5'5" and 5'6". She weighed between 140 to 150. God, I wish I weighed that little. Holy shit. She was divorced. Characteristics is that she was Caucasian female, brown hair, brown eyes. She wears glasses or eyeglasses. Sorry, what's the difference between glasses and eyeglasses? Anyway, which have her name Mickey printed on the right lens. Oh, that's cool. I never heard of that before. She was last seen wearing a white uniform and shoes. She was also wearing a khaki coat and carrying a white purse. Case. Okay, so we are at the details. At 6 a.m. on the morning of September 11th, 1979, in a small town in St. Joseph, Missouri, a young woman named Micki Jo West left for work. She was last seen walking toward her bus stop 4 blocks away. She never arrived at work. She never picked up her paycheck and was never seen or heard from again. The fact that she didn't pick up her paycheck, that should tell you right then that something is not right. Normally, even if you're just going to, like, say you're going to leave the city, like you're moving or whatever, you're still going to want to pick up your check, I'd figure. So the fact that she did not want to pick up her check, it really kind of makes you wonder, like, okay, something must have happened to the lady. When her family learned that she did not arrive at work, they reported her as missing. Mickey's friends and family suspect foul play, but her body has never been found. Her best friend and sister-in-law, Ruth West, believes she knows what happened to her. She thinks she knows who did it and why they did it. Detective Sergeant Timothy Wedner, I apologize for mutilating that name, states that they have a suspect that they identified the day after her disappearance. Ruth's ex-husband, Marvin Lee Irvin, I'm guessing that's the suspect. They have talked to him several times. However, they do not have any strong evidence against him at this point. Her father, Reserve Police Officer Aiden Locke, believes that Irvin abducted her and a few hours later killed her. He has spent years looking into the case on his own. At the time of her disappearance, Mickey was 19 years old. She and her husband Calvin had just moved from California to St. Joseph. She was an outgoing, friendly woman who worked as a nurse's aide at the St. Joseph State Hospital. Ruth remembers that she was funny and could always make a bad situation into a good one. When Ruth would have bad days, Mickey would come in and make everything all right. She sounds like a pretty nice person. Mickey became involved in the bitter marital dispute of Ruth and Irvin. Perhaps too involved. She began to receive threats. The last time Ruth talked to her on the phone, she said that she was scared and afraid for her life. She told Ruth that she was going to carry a hammer to work with her. The next morning, she disappeared. Sergeant Schwenner. God, I cannot pronounce that name. Oops, sorry. I cannot pronounce that name. I'm just. Notes that at this point, the only case they have is that of a missing person. And that's kind of why I originally thought this case should have been originally titled or labeled as a missing persons case. However, there is an update. We will see that at the very end. I still say that this should have been originally labeled as a missing persons with an update to follow, but because they literally make it sound like Micki Jo West is wanted, and that drives me nuts when you have a missing persons case, but they title it as wanted. Okay, well, enough of that rant. Let's continue on. They do not have a body to establish a murder case. He does not feel that they could convict anyone of murder without a body. They do have evidence and threats. They do have evidence that threats were made to Micki, that she was followed by Irvin, that they had a motive to do this, and that he had the opportunity to do this. The sergeant feels that they just need her body to prove the case. For 7 years, no new evidence was found. Then in 1986, a delivery man found a letter at a Kansas City shopping mall 75 miles from where Micki disappeared. It was addressed to the St. Joseph Police. It read, "I need your help. I was with Marvin Irvin when he killed Micki Jo West, and hid the body. I can kill myself now. Please help." This letter was unsigned. Now, the thing is, well, let me move this up. The thing is that if you watch the video, which I'm going to put the link in the description below, if you watch the video, you'll see that they had to kind of mark out the name. They kind of like use whiteout or whatever you want to call it. It was basically edited. Because at the time of that video, they could not say the guy's name without substantial proof. So the fact that they have it here, it makes me wonder if they actually have some new information, basically. About a month later, on October 2nd, another note was found in the same mall. A security guard who worked there found the note in a hallway. It was the same type of envelope and written on the same type of paper as the first one. It had the same message on it. It was also delivered to the police in Overland Park, and then later sent to the St. Joseph Police. Both the notes named Irvin, who was and is the prime suspect in the case. The author of the notes said that he was with Irvin, but that the author did not kill her himself. He said that he could not stand the knowledge that he had, and he needed help. The note was also unsigned. So far, the police have not come up with any solid leads as to who the author is. Okay, let's do this. So I'm wondering if the way I'm reading this, okay, if they did not have like the information at the end, if this was just being shown for the very first time right now, I would think that Irvin or Irving, or however you want to pronounce his name, that he was doing the letters himself as a way to try and get everybody off his trail. It's like, well, somebody's accusing me of doing it. I didn't do it. That's what I can imagine. But since, it's been several decades later, we're going to see what ended up happening. Let's see here. Okay, hold on. 7 weeks later, 3 more letters were found, this time in St. Joseph, the town where Micki was last seen. The first one was discovered in a shopping mall. The same day, another was located at a local truck stop. Then a janitor found another letter in the same St. Joseph shopping mall. After the 3 letters were found in St. Joseph, police had a total of 5 notes, all established to be from the same author, all saying the same message, naming the same suspect, but getting police no closer to making or proving the case against him. I still think, like I said, if it wasn't for the knowledge that we have now, several decades later, I cannot help but think that this was, some sort of a way of trying to throw the police off of the person. Irvin basically trying to get everybody off of his back. Police looked at the possibility that the letters were a hoax. However, they believe that they are genuine because of the details that are given about the crime that were not released to the public. See, I'm wondering what those were. Because of the way they were written and because of the feelings that they express. When FBI agents examined the letters, they felt the author was intimidated by Micki's killer. Well, the fact is, if the person, because one of the letters, according to the video I watched just prior to recording this, one of the letters went to like a news reporter at a TV news station. You would think that Micki's killer would know who that author was. I mean, it really doesn't make sense that this person is going around saying, I did not kill Micki, but I was there when I saw it happen. Because if this person is legitimate and Irving, this guy could have been the only one with Irving would know, like, this guy's trying to rat me out. This guy is trying to rat me out. So I'm just kind of torn when it comes to whoever it is that, the author of these letters, basically. When FBI agents examined the letters, they felt the author was intimidated by Micki's killer. They believed that the letters were not written by a stranger. I still think that possibly it was Irving, and he was just trying to act like this whole other person as a way to try and get the attention off of him, basically. They believe that they were written by someone who was personally acquainted with her. There are deep-seated feelings of guilt in the letters. Not because the author was personally responsible for having killed Micki, but because he was present when it happened and not able to stop it. On January 13, 1988, 9 years after Micki's disappearance, another letter turned up at a Kansas City Mall theater. It was addressed to the police and a local TV station. This is what I'm talking about right here. 8 months later, a reporter for the TV station, Thurman Mitchell, received a letter addressed to him personally. Okay, this is what I'm talking about right here. Sorry about that. In the letter, the author said that if Thurman would come alone, he or she would show him where Micki is. The author said he did not want the reward. He or she claimed to have been involved, not having been involved in the case, but stated that he or she needed help again. As of today, the letter writer still remains anonymous. Micki's case is still unsolved. Sergeant Schwedner states that the author is the most important witness in the case. If he or she knows where her remains are to be found, if he or she was there, and if he or she will testify, he or she is absolutely critical. Arden wants the author to come forward and tell the police what he or she knows. If he or she, oh my God, how many times there should be a drinking game? Like take a drink every time you see he or she, because this portion of the wiki right here that I've been reading, it is really thick with he or she, he or she, he or she. Anyway, If he or she does not want to come forward, Arden asks that the author just write another letter or call the police and tell them where Micki is. Ruth misses Micki, dearly and just wants to know what happened to her. She hopes that if someone knows what happened, they will come forward so that her loved ones can get on with their lives. Clearly, the author of the letters feels for his or her life. But if he or she would just let the police know where Micki could be found, then they would be much closer to solving the case. Suspects: Marvin Irvin, a former St. Joseph police officer. Okay, I cannot recall what they said that, I I don't think they said Marvin Irvin's name in the video itself, but the fact that he's a police officer, that says a lot right there, because of the fact that if he's a police officer, he would have detailed information about, like, say, the investigation, possibly, even though he may not be on the investigative team due to conflict of interest. You got to think that he would be friends with somebody in the department who could give him that information, and by them giving him that information, it could possibly keep him or allow him to stay a couple steps ahead of the investigation itself. Let's see here. Was considered a prime suspect in Micki's disappearance. He allegedly had threatened her in the weeks prior to it due to her involvement in his marital dispute. She had told Ruth to divorce him. He physically abused Ruth, and the two started the relationship when she was just 15. He had also previously been arrested for trying to have sex with another 15-year-old a few weeks before Micki vanished. Oh, that's not good. Ruth and her young son fled their home and stayed at a motel. Micki knew their location and refused to tell Irvin. However, on the day of Micki's disappearance, two of Irvin's friends found Ruth and her son and took them to Irvin. This led investigators to believe that he had abducted Micki and forced her to tell him their whereabouts. But at the time, there were no other evidence to suggest that he was involved. He claimed that he had an alibi for the morning. He was driving around with a friend. He also passed a polygraph test. Although, when a friend was interviewed in a case review several days later, he said they had not been together that morning. In 1988, Irvin was arrested for attempting to kidnap his girlfriend. This guy is definitely sounding a lot more suspicious as I continue to read this. She subsequently told police that he had confessed to killing Micki. He also threatened to kill her if she left him. He led police to another ex-wife of his. Wow, this guy was just getting around, wasn't he? Whom too said that he had confessed to killing Micki. In the confession, he was specifically quoted to having said that to another ex-girlfriend. Said that another ex-girlfriend helped him dispose of the body. Micki's husband, Calvin, was also considered a potential suspect. The two recently separated, and Micki went to live with her mother and sister. Her mother said that Calvin had threatened to throw Micki down a flight of stairs. Oh, geez, this poor lady, she just has it real bad. If it isn't, having threats lobbied at her from her friend's husband that she's trying to help, she's being threatened and, assaulted possibly by her current husband. So it's like, wow, this lady she was dealt a bad hand, if you ask me. However, police discovered that he was at work that morning. He passed a polygraph test and was ruled out. Even though he passed a polygraph test and was ruled out, they should still have kept an eye on him because of the fact that he made threats against his own wife. You know, like that's not cool. That's not cool. Several years after Micki vanished, anonymous letters were found. Oh my God, more letters! Holy shit! Found in various locations in Missouri. The author claimed to have been with Irvin when he killed Micki. See this right here. Why would, if you are so afraid of Irvin wanting to hurt you because of the fact that you know what Irvin did, why would you just release all these letters and basically, point at Irvin? That's why I'm always like, is this really Irvin himself that's trying to throw the investigation off of him? However, he or she never came forward. Authorities believe that the author was frightened of Irvin and did not want to come forward. As a result, they speculated that her father, Arden, may have written the letters to get the police to look into her case again. However, he denied writing them. In 1981, convicted murderer and alleged cult leader Sandra Hemi confessed that members of her cult had killed Micki in a cult sacrifice. However, no evidence was found to support her claims, and the connection was later ruled out. Okay, so I actually want to check the name Sandra Hemi out. So let's do that. Let's do that. Sandra Hemi, cult leader. Fuck it, let's just try it. Okay, let's see here. Murder of Patricia Jaceki? Let's see here. Okay, so this lady was murdered in St. Joseph, Missouri also. I'm just seeing if it, okay. Does it actually have a link? Okay, it doesn't look like it. Damn, I was hoping that they would have had a link. Okay. I was hoping that they would have had a link to kind of show us like what the Sandra Hemi was like. Life interrupted in the look. Right. Okay. Okay, let's scroll up. Extra notes. This case first aired on the January 25th, 1989 episode. It was submitted to the show by Sergeant Schweder. It was also featured on the show Buried in the Backyard. At the time of the broadcast, Irvin's name was not mentioned, and that's what I was kind of talking about, how it was kind of edited out, as he had not been charged in this case. Results. Unresolved. On September 17, 1990, 31-year-old Patricia Diane Rose vanished from after leaving a bar in St. Joseph 1 month later. On October 29, 1990, 33-year-old Crystal Lynn Simmons vanished after leaving another bar in St. Joseph, with a man matching Irvin's description. Oh, shit. It's getting to the point we really should just kind of attach like a billboard to the front to Irvin's forehead and say, hey, date this guy at your own risk. Holy shit, this guy. It seems like this guy is a real bad dude. Let's see here. Shortly after Crystal's disappearance, Sergeant Schweder received a call from a Missouri Department Corrections investigator who told him about a strange letter that an inmate had received recently. Oh my God! Now this author is now sending letters to the. The letter written by Irvin's sister, said that he had come home bloody with a woman's wristwatch. It had been sent around at the time of Patricia's disappearance. A second letter was also sent to his sister, mentioned that Irvin had come to her house wanting to borrow a shovel and saying that he had made a mistake and that the mistake was in his trunk. Do not go to the trunk. If he says, "Hey, you want to see what's in the trunk?" You say fucking no. You give him any sort of goddamn excuse. I gotta go get groceries. I gotta watch The Price is Right. I gotta go. I gotta go swimming. No, you don't want to go swimming. You can disappear doing that. I gotta paint my toenails. I fucking say anything. If he says, "Hey, you want to go take a look at my trunk?" Fucking say no. Sergeant Schweder believed that the letter was related to Crystal's disappearance. What I'm kind of curious is why would they send it to an inmate? Why not just fucking send it to the fucking police officer? This shit is maddening. It's maddening. These letters are fucking appearing like tribbles from Star Trek. There's a letter here, there's a letter here, there's a letter here, there's a letter over there, there's a letter down there. They're appearing everywhere except where they fucking need to be, which is a goddamn police station. Okay, hold on. A bartender who saw Crystal leave with a man was re-questioned. He confirmed that the man she left with was Irvin. Oh, God. Oh, God. But he was too afraid to identify him earlier. Detectives obtained a search warrant for his home. They found a hammer, bloody cowboy boots, bloody under. Why the fuck would you keep this shit? Fuck it. Let's keep the bloody stuff. Bloody underwear and jewelry belonging to the victims. The inside of the pickup on the property was also covered. DNA testing confirmed that it was Patricia's blood in the truck. Crystal's blood was also found in another car. Jesus Christ, this guy never fucking cleaned his property. Holy shit. That's why I always say that criminals are a stupid bunch. On November 9th, 1990, Irvin was arrested and formally charged with Patricia and Crystal's murders. He refused to speak to the police about the cases. Just a few days later, on November 11th, hunters found skeletal remains in a backyard cornfield. Hold on. Near Highland, Kansas, about 30 miles from St. Joseph's. They were identified as Patricia's. The next day, about 400 yards away, searchers found Crystal's body. The field where their bodies were found was near property that the Irvin family had previously owned. Oh my God. Oh my God. Autopsies revealed that both women had died of blunt force trauma. The hammer found in his home was determined to have been the murder weapon. There's blood on it. What the? Fuck it. Okay, let's just continue reading. Although Irving was charged with Patricia and Crystal's murders, the police did not have enough evidence to charge him with Micki's case as well. Then, in late November, they located a key witness, a young woman who was dating him. Oh my God. This guy has had more ass than I ever have. And this guy's a killer. Okay, where the fuck am I? Hold on. Micki's disappearance. She had been previously named by his second ex-wife. She said that he had confessed to killing Micki. You know, at this point, considering that they already have a murder weapon and 2 other dead bodies, maybe we should just believe this person just outright, that this guy killed Micki, he said that he killed her because she would not tell him where Ruth was. She also said that when she got in Irvin's car with him that night, Micki was in the back seat covered with a blanket. Hey, you want to get in my car? No, no, no. That's okay. I'm going to go to Burger King. I'm going to go get me a hamburger. I'm going to go watch a movie. I'm going to come home, play some Mike Tyson's Punch Out. You want to ride? Fuck no, 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 no. I can walk. I'm not getting in your fucking murder mobile. You can go fuck off. Okay. Uh, Covered with a blanket, Micki weakly asked for help. And when his girlfriend mentioned this to him, he said, "Dead people don't talk." He then drove to a cornfield, pulled her out of the car with the help of his girlfriend. So, okay, so now she's basically an accomplice at this point, ladies and gentlemen. And shot her. As a result of the ex-girlfriend's testimony, Irvin was charged with Micki's kidnapping and murder as well. On October 3rd, 1991, he pleaded guilty to first-degree murder in Patricia and Crystal cases and second-degree murder in Micki's case. I don't recall what the difference between first and second degree is, but the fact he killed. Why did I just get him on first degree also? Like, what the fuck? Hold on. Let's actually do some. Let's see here. Different between first and second degree murder. Sorry, state. In Missouri, first degree murder is defined as a knowing killing after deliberation, while second degree murder is knowing killing without that deliberation, or killing with intent to cause serious physical injury. First degree murder carries a more severe penalty, potentially including life in prison without parole, or even the death penalty. While second, wait, hold on, potentially including life in prison without parole, or even death penalty. While second degree murder typically results in a prison sentence of 10 to 30 years. It sounds like he knew what he was going to do. It sounds like he knew what he was going to do to Micki. How did he only get second degree? I don't know. I don't know. He should have been put on death row. I hope he is. Is he on death row? Let's find out. Okay, hold on, let's scroll this up. As part of his plea agreement, he confessed to Micki's murder and explained what happened that day. According to Irvin, he pulled next to Micki in his car as she walked to work. They argued. She threw her hammer at him. Is the hammer that she had with her for self-defense the weapon that he actually killed her with? And if that's the case, is the hammer that she was going to use for self-defense, is that the same hammer that he used to kill the other two ladies with? Oh, jeez. This is horrible. I mean, like, she had a hammer for self-defense, and it ended up actually being possibly what took her own life. Holy shit. Uh, he attacked her. He then put her in his car, planning to take her to the hospital. Oh, I doubt that. I fucking doubt that he was going to take her to the hospital, because if he took her to the hospital, she would tell the doctors and possibly the police that would show up, "He's trying to kill me." No, she was never going to go to the hospital. He was probably waiting for her to die, then he was just going to dump her somewhere. During the drive, he said that she angered him, so he stabbed her 4 times. He then took her to Highland, marched her into the cornfield, shot her twice in the head, and buried her body. So he bludgeoned her with a hammer, stabbed her 4 times. Wait, was it 4 times? Yeah, stabbed her 4 times and shot her. Are 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 you sure she's dead? Serious question. Are you sure she's dead? You bludgeoned her, you stabbed her, you shot her. As part of the plea agreement, he was supposed to lead authorities to her remains. He said she was buried close to where Patricia was found. However, an extensive search of the field turned up no trace of her. Sergeant Schwetter suspects that Irvin may have moved her body to another location to avoid being caught. Her family later held a memorial service for her. Investigators admitted that they had made mistakes in the investigation, such as not checking his alibi initially and failing to search Irvin's vehicle, since a polygraph test is not infallible. Furthermore, they now believe that Marvin Lee himself was the author of the letters and that he wrote them to try to throw off and taunt them. Isn't that what I was basically saying? That he was trying to throw them off. On June 5th, 2018, Micki's mother, Grenada, passed away at the age of 74. Her sister, Tammy, had already passed away on November 18, 2010, aged barely 56. Her maternal grandmother, however, Melba, reached the grand old age of 101 before passing away on November 2nd, 2020. I don't drink. I'm not a drinker, alcoholism, my father liked to drink a lot and I don't want that to affect me. But after reading this case, if I drank alcohol, this would be a reason why I would be drinking alcohol. We have a lady who by all accounts just had it fucking bad. She was married to a guy. Apparently, he threatened violence against his own wife. Micki was trying to be nice and help a lady escape her husband, only for that husband to kill her. And not only did he just kill her, it was like, he most likely used the same hammer that Micki had for safety reasons. He used that weapon to bludgeon her. He stabbed her. Then he shot her. This poor lady, oh my god, like I said, this would be a reason that I would drink if I was a drinker. Like nobody should have to go through that level of hatred, basically. Okay, so we have Micki Jo West, also Micki Jo West Locker. I think that's her maiden name. Memorial Find a Grave. I'll be honest. After reading all that, I'm depressed. This is just like more depression on top of more depression on top of more goddamn depression. Birth September 24th, 1959 in Atchison, County, Kansas, USA. Date of death was September 11th, 1979. She was 19 years of age. Highland, Doniphan County, Kansas, USA. Uh, what is that? Oh, a cenotaph is a marker within a cemetery placed to honor of a person whose remains are elsewhere. It may also be the original marker for someone who has since been reinterred somewhere or elsewhere. Sorry. Location is Fairview Cemetery in Smith Center, Smith County, Kansas, USA. The plot is located at Block 12, Section A, Row 5. Okay, so let's take a look at the pit photos. We only got a couple photos here, sadly. We got Micki Jo West. And then we have the Settlpath, or oh god, I can't recall what the name was. It's the marker, basically. Micki Jo Lock. I think it's the marker, but anyway. Micki Jo Lock, September 24th, 1959 to September 11th, 1979. The poor lady, she didn't even hit 20. She didn't even hit 20. That's fucking sad. Okay, so for family members, we only have one entry here. We have her mom, Bernita Gail Sam Samuelson Wolfing, 1943 to 2018. And then we have some flowers, and basically your flowers, like basically people leaving their respects and everything. Jesus, that was sad. That was sad. Like I said, you have a person who sounds like she was in a violent marriage. The husband threatened to threatened harm on her, and then for her trying to do something good and help a person, she ended up paying the price by being murdered. This poor lady, she did not have she was not dealt a good hand. Hopefully, if you believe in reincarnation, hopefully she will be reincarnated and have a real good life in the next life. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. When I return, it will be with my final thoughts.
Samantha Agar for ColorTrak from RCA.
My eyes are green, my hair is auburn, and my dress is vivid red. RCA wanted me to tell you the right colors because getting the color right is what their exclusive ColorTrak system is all about. It's a remarkable development that actually adjusts color and keeps it on track.
Before you see the ColorTrak system grabs it, aligns it, defines it, sharpens it, tones it, and locks the color on track.
RCA is making television better and better.
Okay, time for my final thoughts, and honestly, I am not sure how I can really, how I really feel about this. Part of me is glad that, Irvin was sentenced for the death of those three ladies. However, I think he should be on death row. The guy killed three people. He killed three people. You just don't accidentally kill somebody. It isn't like, whoops, that person fell on a hammer and killed himself. To kill somebody, it takes planning. It isn't just like you stub your toe. And if he really wanted to save her, he should save Micki. He would have taken her to the hospital. He did not take her to the hospital. Micki Jo West, I feel that she had a bad card, hand of cards dealt to her. I have never seen a murder victim, as of recording this, that had it even worse than this lady. There's gonna be more seasons, but right now this has to be like the most tragic case I've recently covered. Husband sounds like he was abusive to her. She tried to do what was right and help people who, was in abusive relationships themselves, only for her to be killed. It's just like, damn, this it's sad. It's fucking sad. But thankfully, they at least got the asshole who did it. You know, they got the guy, so that's a positive right there. That's positive. That has to be a positive. Yeah. But I did kind of call it though. You know, as I was reading this, those letters. You know, I originally, like I said, I originally thought that Irvin was doing those letters that basically that it was like him trying to throw off the investigation. Yeah. And the main reason I thought that that was him, you know, that if the reason I think thought it was him was if there was another person doing these letters, if it was just Irvin and the author, and the author was literally saying Irvin's doing it, Irvin's doing it, Irvin would know who the fucker was that was, you know, trying to implicate him because there's only one other person there with him. So yeah, because of that, I kind of figured it had to be Irvin. It had to be Irvin. Sadly, you know, 3 people had to die for him to be finally caught, which is sad. Which is sad. The guy sounds like he was just grade A psychopath. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is it for the case of Micki Jo West. On the next installment of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries, I present to you the case of the orphan car children, or train orphan children, or however you want to pronounce it. It's actually going to be broken into 2 cases. So, next installment will deal with case number 1, the case of Sylvia K. Wemhoff. She was one of the orphans who were put on a train, and that train headed west with hopes of getting these orphans into families. Sylvia is actively trying to find her family, and you know, we will find out, you know, in the next installment of Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries how her journey went. Here is an overall preview of the case. It just kind of shows the general. It's a general promo, so it's not going to focus on Sylvia. So, but here it is.
Between 1890 and 1920, thousands of homeless children rode orphan trains to new families in the Midwest. Today, many want to find the brothers and sisters they never knew.
And that is about it. I just want to say thank you to everybody who has taken the time out of your day to watch this video. I'm grateful that the case was finally solved. Sadly, it came at the cost of 3 people dying. It just kind of reminds me, and you know, I hope it reminds everybody that life is kind of short, and to make sure that you tell the people that you love that you basically love them, because who knows what can happen. As always, if you like what you watch, feel free to click that subscribe button on YouTube or the follow button on Facebook, and I'll see you next time. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse. Wishing you all a great day. Stay safe, everybody. Peace out.
Introducing the 1977 Ford Grenada.
I'm back, sweetheart.
Who are you?
Why,
Get out of my Cadillac.
where's my Grenada? Oh, my sweet, my pet. Oh, sorry. I thought this was my Cadillac.
Well, it's my Mercedes, you animal.
Now, where were we?
What are you, some kind of weirdo?
No, wrong car.
Get out of here.
One way to tell Grenada from Cadillac and Mercedes is its sticker price. When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.